Hello students, now I am here in this video to give ins and outs of test for checking flexibility. So let's know about flexibility. First, flexibility is a necessary component for physical fitness. Flexibility is the range of movements of joints. An individual who has proper flexibility can perform his/her work very easily. Such people seem to be attractive. Usually, they tend to have good personality. Flexibility is not only a significant factor in sports but also equally significant for an individual in his/her daily life. Sit and reach flexibility test. The sit and reach test is a common measure of flexibility and especially measure the flexibility of the lower back and hamstring muscles. This test is important as because tightness in this area is implicated in lumbar lordosis, forward pelvic tilt and lower back pain. This test was first described by Wells and Dillon 1952 and is now widely used as a general test of flexibility. The most logical measure is to use the level of the feet as recording 0 so that any measure that does not reach and toes is negative and any reach past the toes is positive, such as for PRT, sit and reach for the Navy. However, using negative values is more difficult for statistical analysis and for comparing results. The procedure for the President's Challenge version requires that the box is made with 9 inches 23 centimeter at the level of the feet, so reaching 2 inches past the toes is recorded as 11 inches. The Eurofit manual suggests having 15 centimeter at the level of the feet and also 10 inches has been used. A limitation of the traditional sit and reach procedure is that people with long arms and or short legs would get a better result, while those with short arms and or long legs are at the disadvantage. The modified sit and reach test controls for this as the 0 mark is adjusted for each individual based on their sitting reach level. The procedure for sit and reach test. This test involves sitting on the floor with legs stretched out straight ahead. Shoes should be removed. The soles of the feet are placed flat against the box. Both knees should be locked and pressed flat to the floor. The tester may assist by holding them down with the palm facing downwards and the hands on top of each other or side by side. The subject reaches forward along the measuring line as far as possible. Ensure that the hands remain at the same level, not one reaching further forward than the other. After some practice the subject reaches out and holds that position for at 1-2 seconds. While the distance is recorded, make sure there are no jerky movements. The scoring of sit and reach test. The score is recorded to the nearest centimeter or half inch as the distance reached by the hand. Some test variants use the level of the feet as the zero mark, while others have the zero mark 9 inches before the feet. There is also the modified sit and reach test, which adjust the zero mark depending on the arm and leg length of the subject. There are some norms for the sit and reach test and also examples of some actual athlete results. The validity of sit and reach test. The test only measures the flexibility of the lower back and hamstring and is a valid measure of this. The reliability for sit and reach test. The reliability of this test will depend on the amount of warm-up that is allowed and whether the same procedures are followed each time the test is conducted. Most sit and reach testing norms are based on no previous warm-up. Though the best results will be achieved after a warm-up or if the test is preceded by a test such as the endurance test which can act as a warm-up. If a warm-up is used, it is important to have a standardized warm-up and test other and repeat the same order and repeat the same conditions for each time the test is conducted. Norms of sit and reach test in centimeter. Please see the chart. Let's come to the next part of flexibility, that is V-sit reach test. This test measures the flexibility of the lower back and hamstring muscles. The test is very similar to the sit and reach test, though no box is required. This following describes the procedures for the V-sit as used in the President's Challenge Fitness Award, which is an alternative to their sit and reach test. The equipment required for V-sit reach test: a tape for marking the ground, marker pen and ruler. With the tape, mark a straight line 2 feet long on the floor as the baseline and a measurement line perpendicular to the midpoint of the baseline extending 2 feet on each side. Use the marker pen to indicate every half inch along the measurement line. The point where the baseline and measuring line intersect is the 0 point. The pre-test for V-sit reach test. Explain the test procedure to the subject. Explain the test procedure to the subject. Perform screening of health risk and obtain informed consent. Prepare forms and record basic information such as age, height, body weight, gender, test conditions. Perform an appropriate warm-up. The procedure for V-sit-rich test. The subject removes their shoes and sits on floor with the measuring line between their legs and the soles of their feet placed immediately behind the baseline, heels 8 to 12 inch apart. The thumbs are clasped to that hands are together, palm facing down and placed on measuring line, with the legs held flat by partner. The subject slowly reaches forward as far as possible, keeping the fingers on baseline and feet flexed. After 3 practice tries, the student holds the fourth each for 3 seconds while that distance is recorded. Make sure there are no jerky movements and that the fingertips remain level and the legs flat. The scoring for V-sit-rich test. The score is recorded to the nearest half inch as the distance before negative or beyond positive the baseline. The validity for V-sit-rich test. This test only measures the flexibility of the lower back and hamstring and is valid measure of this. The reliability for V-sit-rich test. The reliability will depend on the amount of warm-up allowed and whether the same procedure are followed each time. Some norms values will be based on no previous warm-up. The best results will be achieved after a warm-up. I hope that you are clear with the topic. Sit and Rich test and We Sit Rich test. In the upcoming video, we will elaborate the topic endurance and its test. Thank you, students. Have a nice day. Stay home. Be safe.